Before everything, coffee. Hi, my name's Diana. Welcome to the amazing crochet journey that you're going to be going on. Together, we're going to learn how to do all of the things that you need to do. So we're going to learn how to make different types of patterns, but we're also going to learn how to read a pattern. We're going to learn how to read a chart. We're going to learn the difference between UK and American terms. I will tell you UK terms because I'm a UK designer, so that's what I'm comfortable with, but it's very easy to translate those into American terms, and a lot of videos you'll see on YouTube will have American terms, so it's always good to be aware of the differences between the two. I am doing a series of videos to go with my book Loop by Loop, which hopefully you've already purchased. If not, you can find it on my website, thecrochetchain.co.uk. I'll leave a link down in the bio. And it goes through in 5 weeks or 5 chapters with an additional chapter for an extra little thing. But 5 chapters to show you how to crochet. We have left and right-handed instructions in the book. I said we, but I mean I. There are left and right-handed instructions in the book. There are charts and there's pattern reading, and I will go through all of that as we learn how to crochet. I know how to crochet as you learn to crochet. All you need to start is a crochet hook. I recommend this one, which is a Knit Pro Waves 5mm crochet hook. Now you can buy that on my website. You can buy it as a kit with a yarn pack and with stitch markers and scissors and a sewing up needle. So you can buy it in very many ways, but this is a really cost-effective way of getting into crochet. All you really need is one crochet hook, maybe a pair of scissors and some yarn. Now, the yarn in the packs is Starcraft Special DK. DK stands for double knitting. This is a really practical yarn to start using for your crochet journey. It's not to say that you can't use any other double knit yarn, but they all have different things. So I don't recommend cotton because there's no give in it. I don't recommend like 100% wool, particularly something like merino, because that's too stretchy. Acrylic just has this particular acrylic as well, just has that right amount of stretch, amount of give. So it's got a bit of give, but not too much, so that it's a bit more controllable when you're starting to crochet. I will talk about tension. That is tension as in how tight you crochet. But in all honesty, you don't need to worry about it unless you're really, really, really tight. And I'll give you tips on how to avoid that. But this is the yarn that I recommend as the best yarn to start your crochet journey with. Now this is the Woodland Walk colourway. I do have another colourway in the Loop by Loop family, if you like. The other colourway is this one, which is a bit brighter. That's the wrong side, sorry. That wasn't good, showing you the wrong side already. So this is the other colourway, a bit brighter, lighter, brighter. Or if you prefer the more autumnal colours, then that's this one. But all you need really is one ball of yarn. Okay, one ball of yarn, a crochet hook and the book and this video, and we'll get going. In this session, which matches up with the first chapter, so I'm just going to look in here just to make sure. I've just gone through the essential kit: crochet hook, yarn, scissors, sewing up needle and stitch markers if you have them. If not, safety pins will do as well. We're going to go through the anatomy of a crochet hook. We're going to make a slip knot. We're going to go over how to hold your hook and your yarn and different variations of that, how to make a chain, how to fasten off, very important, how to make a treble crochet stitch, and then working in rows with straight edges. And the first project at the end of this video will be the treble crochet easy peasy scarf, which is pictured here with you know who here. So that's me, if you didn't know. But it's a very, very, very easy pattern, treble crochet stitches, which is what you're going to be learning in your first session. So this series is going to have 6 videos, starting off with how to hold your hook and yarn, going on to granny squares, granny stripe, ripple crochet and single colour squares, along with flower squares. You'll cover joining squares together, we'll cover sewing in the ends, all sorts of things. I'll give you hints and tips along the way, things that I've learned, not just through doing crochet, but actually teaching crochet. So I've actually been teaching for a decade, or more than a decade. I started teaching in 2010 actually. So this is like the accumulated experience of teaching people over that time. And I have definitely taught hundreds of people to crochet. So hopefully you will find this an easy way to get into this amazing craft of crochet. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to crochet. I hope you enjoy my technique of teaching you, and so that you can learn really easily. I hope that I've covered all the things that you might not have thought about and that other videos might not think about telling you. The rest of the videos will be at a link that you can find in my Loop by Loop book. So if you like the way I teach, if you have learned something whilst you've been watching this video, then please go and buy the Loop by Loop book, and you will find all the rest of the information in there that will help you on your crochet journey. Thank you for joining me, and enjoy your crochet journey. Back to the coffee. So looking at our crochet hook, we have our handle here. This tells you what the width of the hook is, which is 5 millimeters. Oh, is it looking there? 5 millimeters. And this part of the hook is called the shaft. That's the bit that is the 5 millimeter bit. You have the throat here, which is narrower than the shaft part. That's so that the hook can do its work. When you're crocheting, you always want to bring your loops onto this part so that you create an even tension. If you keep your loops in this part, the throat of the hook, then it's likely that you will be crocheting too tight. This tip part, that's the tip, that is to poke. Okay, so a tip is to poke, and then the hook, which is under there, the hook is to pull. So tip, poke, hook, pull. All right. Now you can hold your hook in 2 different ways. So I hold my hook overhand like so. So I put my thumb on the handle and I have my hand on there like so. Okay, so you can see how I'm holding it like this. This allows me occasionally to use my first finger to hold loops on the hook. If you hold it like a pencil, that's the other option. So you've still got your thumb on the handle there, but the finger is on the front there, and you might use your middle finger to hold on to loops if you need to. But having said that, I go this way. Now we've got our little ball of yarn here. We've got 2 ends to our yarn. We have this end, which is the tail end there, and then the end that is attached to the ball of yarn we call the working end of the yarn. So I'm going to make a slip knot to start. Every piece of crochet starts with the slip knot. It never ever mentions it in the pattern. Okay, so we're going to take our tail and we're going to wrap it around our first 2 fingers and across and let it drop down. we're then going to put our finger or our hook into the middle of that ring, and we're going to pull it through like so. This gives you a overhand knot and overhand knot here with the tail, so that's the tail there. Okay, so that we can tighten that overhand knot part with the tail, and then the working end, if we pull on that, it will slide and it will make the slip knot smaller. There are lots of different ways to make a slip knot. If you already know a way to make a slip knot, that's absolutely fine. Do it how you would normally, but just make sure that your overhand knot part of the slip knot and the tail is attached to that knot part, so that this end is slipping like so. We're going to pop this loop on our hook. We're going to tighten it up a little bit, but not too tight. So we don't want it to be really, really tight. We want it to be a little bit loose. We're going to sort out, we've thought about how we're going to hold the hook. I'm going to refer to hook hand and yarn hand because this video is going to be flipped for left-handers, and so we need to have enough the instructions for both. So here we go, we've got our hook hand sorted out, so we're just going to sort out our yarn hand. Now for me, I go like this, so bring your hook and the working end of the yarn between your first and second fingers, and then you bring it around your first finger, okay, and then you hold on to the tail there with your middle finger and then your thumb. And the closer you are to your hook, the more control you will have. So I'll show you that again. So going between the first and second fingers, wrap around your first finger, hold the yarn with your thumb and your middle finger. So middle finger underneath, thumb on top, and then you're ready to start. Now there are lots of different ways to hold your yarn. So you could hold it so that you go around your little finger and over the top, and then lift up your middle finger so that you've got this gap here that we can work the hook in. Or some people go underneath, and I'm going to see if I can do it. So they go like so, it's like this, and they're underneath, so that they grab the yarn from underneath. Now it's whatever's the most convenient for you. What I recommend is start like this with your hand yarn wrapped around your first finger, middle finger and thumb on the working end. I would recommend that you start like that, do some chains, do 5 minutes of chains, and then if it's really feeling bad, try it a different way. If your first finger wants to grab onto your working part or onto the completed work, then you can try one of the other holds. What we do now is we bring our yarn behind, or our hook in front of the yarn to make a chain. We're just going to push down and then yarn over and pull through the loop that is on our hook. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in to do that. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put the hook in front of the yarn, yarn over and pull it through. Okay, we can move our middle finger and thumb up a little bit, then yarn over and pull through there. So we're just going to make chains for 5, 10, 15 minutes, half an hour, doesn't matter. Just make chains until you are comfortable with the yarn and the hook. So it should go quite smoothly like so. It shouldn't be tight. So if it's tight, Now if I was with you, I'd be able to see if this yarn is tight. If it's tight, you can see on my finger, you can see it goes white. If it's too tight and you're struggling like that, then you need to loosen everything up, make sure this loop is big enough, and then yarn over again and pull through so that it's nice and loose. Okay, we can't be having it tight. It's better at this stage to be too loose, so you can have big loops like this. Okay, big loops like this, until you can get the hang of this action of going across the front, yarn over, pull through. So you can have big loops like that until you can control it a little better. Okay, so we're just going to do chains for 5 minutes. We're just going across and pull through. The other thing to notice that you do have, you can control by using your first finger up and down, middle finger, and pulling gently with your hook. You can make that loop bigger and smaller, so you control the size of your loop. So we're just going to yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through. You shouldn't need to twist your hook backwards, so don't do that. We just want to keep your hook either facing forwards or down. So if it's facing down, then it will go through that loop much easier. If you're kind of sideways, you're likely to catch. If you're backwards, you're likely to catch. But if you can just point it downwards, then it will go through quite easily. If you look at the loop, it's like an upside down teardrop there. And so it's designed for the hook to slide through. Can you see? So if the hook is in the right place, it will slide straight through and straight off. Okay, like so. If it's slightly to one way or slightly to the other, it's likely to catch. But if you can get it to go straight through, it'll slide through with no problem whatsoever. So we're going to just do some more chains. So just yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through. And we just keep doing that. And as I say, you can do it for half an hour. You can do it for longer than that. Just do it until you actually feel comfortable making those loops and making those chains. The most important thing is for you to feel comfortable. So hook in front, yarn over and pull through. Hook in front, yarn over and pull through. Hook in front, move up so that you're not too, so you don't want to be like this, trying to do this, because you're going to have much less control over your work than if you are closer. So as long as you're nice and close, okay, so yarn over and pull through. Go up a couple, move up. If you want to use your hook hand just to hold it while you're moving up, so going yarn over, pull through, you can do that, and then so you're holding it with those until you can move it up a little bit. Make sure that the yarn is moving through your fingers as you're making the chain. So it should move through, it should slide through with a bit of resistance. So it's not sliding straight through, but there should be a little bit of resistance, but not so much that the yarn doesn't move when you need it to. So with the tail part of the working end of the yarn is actually kind of just drags across my hand like so, just so that it creates just a little bit more grip on the yarn. When it's sunny and hot, and if you're using acrylic yarn, then it can get too tight, so just be careful of that. But you just want a nice consistent chain. So that's the first thing that you have to do. And as I say, I would practice this until you've got the hang of it, until the yarn feels comfortable in your hand, and that you can make the chain nice and evenly. It's not a race, you're learning a skill. Remember when you were driving, if you drive, when you first start to drive, there's all sorts of things that you have to remember: mirror signal manoeuvre, accelerator, brake, clutch, when to do things, what to do. Oh my goodness, so many things to remember. But once you've learned to drive, you just get into a car or a van and you just drive. You don't even think about those things once you know what to do. So this is what we want to get to with our chains. We're just going to go, so let me just do that again. So I'm just going around and around, and then we're just making chains, make a chain, make a chain, make a chain. When you have made enough chains, then what we need to do is you make one more chain to fasten off, you pull up a loop, and then you snip the loop. Now you might have noticed that when you make your chain, just going to snip the loop here. When you make your chain, it can undo really easily, but what happens when you pull it through, snip it, take out the working end, and then pull this bit tight, is that it locks in place. So when you've got one thread coming through, it locks in place so that you've got your chain there. You can see my big ones there that I did to show you. Doesn't matter about the big ones, we don't really care. One thing to notice at this point is that each of the chain stitches has 3 strands. You can actually see it clearer in these big ones, where you've got the 2 strands at the front and you have a bump at the back. When they're a bit tighter, you can see the chains, the little heart shapes at the front, and if you turn over, you can see it's got bumps at the back. That will become important later on in the course. In this part of the video, I have not used stitch markers. However, they can be very useful when you're attempting this at home. So I will indicate in the video when and where will be the best placement of your stitch markers. The next thing we're going to learn to do is we're going to make a treble crochet. So what I want you to do is to start again with your slip knot. So we're going to take the tail in the palm of our hand, wrap it around, and then push that loop through either with your fingers or with your hook. Make sure that you've got your tail end is the overhand knot. Tighten the overhand knot with the tail first and then slide it up. And I want you to make some chains. Now you can make up to, I don't know, about 30 chains, something like that. We're going to practice doing a treble crochet stitch. So we're going to just make a few chains now, up to about 30. When we get better at it, we're going to be able to make a certain amount of chains and get a certain amount of stitches. At this point, we're not going to necessarily be able to do that, and so we're making some chains, just about 30 chains. I think that's about 15 there, but you're going to make about 30 chains, and I'm going to just start with just this amount of chains just to show you what we're doing. So this loop that is on our hook, that does not count as a stitch. That loop there is our working loop, the one that's on our hook. So that does not count when we're counting stitches. We're going to make a treble crochet stitch. Now some people start with a double crochet. I start with a treble because it's the most useful stitch. We're going to use it in the next session for granny squares, and so we need to know and understand how to make a treble crochet first. This is in UK terms. So we're going to do a yarn over just like we did for the chain, but we're going to hold it on with our finger and we're not going to pull it through. We're just going to hold it on gently with our finger. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, and we're going to put the hook into the 4th chain. It doesn't matter where, but what I would advise you to do is just go into that top loop, just under one loop, like so. And then we're going to yarn over in the same direction. Now our hook is already across the front, so yarn over and pull through the chain. If your chain is too tight, then just find a chain that you can go into. If it's too loose, don't worry. If it looks a bit saggy baggy, that's absolutely fine at this stage. So we're going to yarn over again, same direction as we did when we were making the chains, and we're going to pull through 2 loops, and then we're going to yarn over again, same direction, and pull through 2 loops again. Okay, so that's your first treble. The 3 chains at the beginning count as your first stitch, which will become more important a little later. So we're going to do another treble crochet into the very next chain. So we don't miss 3 chains every time. We go into the very next chain each time now. So we're going to yarn over, hold it on with your finger, insert into the chain, yarn over, pull through the chain, 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. I'm going to repeat this until we get quite a few stitches so that we can just do this together. So it's yarn over, hold it on, insert into the chain, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and we go again, yarn over, insert into the chain, yarn over, pull through the chain, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and again, yarn over, into the chain, yarn over, pull through the chain, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. You might notice that I'm changing where I hold each time. So when I do my yarn over and go into the chain, where I'm holding from on my yarn side, I'm holding it down like that, close to the hook. I yarn over, pull through, and then I adjust my hold slightly, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops, and then you can do that again. You can adjust so that you're closer, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. They should slide through. If you're getting something like this, so I'm going in, yarn over, pull through, and then if you're yarn over and you pull through and you've got 2 loops here, that's because you've had the hook slightly too front or slightly too back, and it's pulled 2 loops through as you've done it. So we want to go back in that case, or undo. You can undo the stitch. It's really easy to do with crochet. So yarn over and pull through the 2 loops. So remember that upside down teardrop, and we're just going to pull it through like so, and pull it through both loops. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through both loops to finish off the stitch. Yours, you might find that you've pulled up because you've done this, so that you might find that you've got things where the stitch seems to be pulled up, like so. Don't worry about that. It does settle down eventually. As you keep going, it will settle down. And if it was a sample we were worried about, we would wash it and block it, which just means stretching it into shape. Even when I've pulled just like that, you can see that the loop has become less stretched. So we're just going to keep doing this, and I would want you to crochet until you've got at least 15 stitches along your chain. Now it doesn't matter if we've got a bit of chain hanging off when you've done your 15 stitches. So yarn over in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So when you get to a point where you've got about 15 stitches, I've got a few less here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we've only got 3 more to do. Now, if you find that you've got a stitch that's too tight that you can't go into, don't worry. If that chain is too tight, go to the next one. It really doesn't matter at this stage. We're not focusing on the foundation chain. What we're focusing on is making the treble crochet stitch. So now I should have, Oh, I need to count now, so let's count. I'll show you how to count them. So I count treble crochets by post. So you've got the turning chain there, which was the stitches, the chains that we missed right at the beginning. And we're going to go, so that counts as our first one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I've got 15 stitches there, which is great. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn. So to do the turn, we have to make 3 chains again. So we're going to go like this, and we're going to do 3 chains. Yarn over, pull through, 1, yarn over, pull through, 2, yarn over, pull through, number 3. Then we're going to turn our work. Now I advise turning away from you. If you turn away, then when you come back, those chains will be facing you. That's a really good way to make sure that you can see where the turning chain is. For our next stitch, we're not going to go into this very first hole here, which belongs to this treble, because we've got our 3 chains here, which counts as our first stitch. So we're going to go in what looks like the second stitch. So we're going to yarn over, hold that on. You don't have to hold it, but sometimes if you don't hold it, it twists around like so. So sometimes just holding it just keeps everything in place. So we're not going in this very first hole, we're going into the second hole. And this time we're going to go into and under 2 strands. So this is what I mean by when we're attaching the stitch. So the first row we're attaching the stitch to the chains. In the second row and all the other rows we're going to be going under 2 strands so that we can keep a nice even stitch. So we're going to yarn over, same thing, we're kind of in front of the yarn here, so we just scoop it and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So the action is exactly the same, it's just where we're putting the stitch that is slightly different. So we're going to go yarn over and in under 2 strands, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops again. Okay, so I'm going to show you that again. So we're going to every stitch along. So yarn over and into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. You'll notice that I let go of the yarn, that's because it's sticking a little bit, so I just let go of the yarn as I'm making the stitch. Yarn over, in, under 2 strands, so it's the next stitch along. So can you see the stitch here? And then we've got the next stitch there. So we're going in to the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. You'll notice that I'm having to pull that yarn a little bit at the end of each movement so that it pulls through nicely. Yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to speed this up, and I will get to see you at the end here. So we're going yarn over and in, pull through 2. So we've just got to the last 2 stitches. So you can see that I've got a post here. So we're going into that stitch. So the top of the stitch is slightly to one side of the post. And so we're going into that last one there. Yarn over and in, yarn over, pull through. That's under 2 strands. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Now the very last one, we're actually looking at the back of the turning chain here, but we're going to try and get into that 3rd chain. Can you see that one there? So the one that's right next to the stitch. The other way you can see it is where that strand is coming out of the treble crochet where you've just done, that strand coming out, that's where we want to aim for. We're going to aim for there and go under 2 strands. Remember I said every stitch is made up of 3 strands. We're trying to go under 2 strands even on the turning chain. We're going to yarn over and pull through. Might be a little sticky, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 and yarn over and pull through 2. Just to let you know, when my hand does that, that's because I'm either adjusting the yarn or I'm pulling more yarn up so that I can use it. So what do we do next? Well, we count our stitches. We make sure that we've still got 15 stitches. We're not worried about this extra tail of extra stitches. We're just going to carry on with our 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If you've got 15 stitches, well done. That's what we needed, is 15 stitches. I'm now going to make a few different mistakes in the next row so that I can show you what that looks like. So I'm going to pause the video now and then come back with the next row done, but with some mistakes, and then we can see how that works. So if you just hold on for a moment. So we're now very close up so that you can see the stitches, and I've made a lot of different mistakes here. And so we're going to look at each one individually. So at the end here, so this is where I've started. What I've done wrong here is that I've gone into the very first stitch. And as you can see, what it does is it kind of makes the chain at the beginning of the row stick out a bit. That's because we've actually made an increase, because it looks like we've got 2 stitches in the 1 stitch. So that's the first mistake. That's too many stitches. Then I've got a straight one, and then here I've got 2 stitches into the same hole. I hope you can see that. It looks like a little, like a bit of like a V. So you can see that we've got 1 stitch here going in here and 1 stitch from here going in here. Okay, so that's an increase, and we don't want an increase, we want 1 stitch in each of the stitches below. As we go along, here we've got the opposite mistake, or missed a stitch, and so we've got 1 treble over here in this stitch, we've got 1 treble over here in this stitch, but we've got nothing in here, so it kind of creates like an A shape in your crochet instead of being nice and straight stitches. So over here where we've got the increase, we've got like a V shape, and over here we've got, it looks a bit like an A shape. We've then got a few straight stitches, and then the mistake at the end is that we haven't gone into the turning chain. So in order to complete this row, we've got this 1 stitch here, which is the chains from the previous row. So if you can see those chains from the previous row, and we've got this stitch coming up here, we actually need to do 1 more stitch into that turning chain, which I will show you how to do now. So we go yarn over, and we go in from the front. So we're going to look at this chain. We've got 1, 2, 3 chains. We're going in at the front and in underneath the 2 strands here. They're kind of twisted round, but that's fine. It's still 2 strands. So it's yarn over into that turning chain, and it looks still like you've got 2 strands on there. Yarn over, pull through, and then finish off our treble with the yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And then we do our 3 chains, and then we can carry on. Although I will be undoing this row because it's all wrong. It's all wrong. It's looking a bit weird. I'm going to pull out, and you can see that it looks really uneven in that row, whereas the previous row looks all nice and straight. Okay, so when we're doing our practice for this one, we're just going to keep going on doing rows, keep going on doing rows, so that we can just practice doing our end stitches. Make sure that you've got 15 stitches in each row. If not, if you look in the book, you can see the different things that I've just pointed out. So going into the very first chain, 2 stitches in one, missing one, not going into your turning chain. So I will see you after you've done a good lot of practice of this, and if you want to go onto the project, then obviously please do, and it's just treble crochets in the same way as we've just been doing here. And I will see you next time when we're going to learn to do the granny square.